Hello, everybody. Thanks for viewing into Tammy's channel chats. I'm a clairaudient, clairvoyant, intuitive reader to your questions. And if you're interested in having a private session with me, you can reach me through my website, tammysintuitive.com. I have a contact form there. I'm also on social media with Instagram, Facebook, and now TikTok with some clairaudient convo videos and some other things on there too. At Tammy's Intuitive Services is how you can find me there. So thanks for tuning in. Today I'm going to just channel on a question that was given to me by a viewer. And the question is kind of a simple one, but a good one. And the question is, how long should we continue to work on relationships that are either not really working or potentially not working? So I think that's a great question. And, we'll probably know some obvious maybe answers to that, but it's going to be interesting once I open up and see what our guides have to say. So I will be tuning in right now, closing my eyes, just making sure I've got that connection with my guides, inviting them in. All right. So what about that, guides? What do we think about, is it a good idea to continue to work on a relationship that's not working? We're thinking, well, it could be a friendship or it could be a romantic relationship. So I think that could apply to all. Okay, I'm already getting it's not necessarily a good idea to keep working toward a resolution in a relationship where there are two parties that are not on the same page. Okay, yeah, that's a good way to put it, I think. Because when you're not on the same page, it is obviously going to be harder for the two of you to come to an agreement that you want to work on the relationship. There are many times that you will think that this relationship could be better if this XYZ happened, or would be different, or this person would be different. But the reality is, it takes a lot of work to be different. And some parties are going to be willing to do that, maybe through therapy and marital counseling or whatever it might be, to come to an agreement of how they can both, coexist together in a way where you're honoring each other's needs and desires and things like that. We always say values from the very beginning of a relationship are very important, core values that you share the same, whether it's how you view money, whether it's how you view raising children, maybe religious beliefs, spiritual beliefs, and what your goals and expectations might be for the future. We can't emphasize enough how important these goals are and these topics are to discuss at some point in the relationship when it's kind of first starting out and you feel like there might be something going on there. If you find that you're at odds a lot and there's constant battling or there's a lot of arguing, we say that you're both trying to teach each other a lesson, something valuable to see within yourself. And you can take some time to reflect on that, certainly, and to see if what is of value here. What is that I'm learning that I need to know for sure? What is it that I'm, what's the opposition always about? If somebody is very much in their ego, for example, one of the two is very much in their ego, well, you're getting the big lesson about how does that work for you? How's that working for you? Because somebody who really works from ego and always has to be right and is always, going to battle anything that comes their way, they're really not in a place yet to have a very loving, I would say, potentially committed relationship. They really need to do some work on their own first. You're given the opportunity to take a look at that. Now, it may not always be that kind of situation, but it is really important to see, what am I learning from this person? If things are not working out, things are, I'm frustrated a lot with this person. It's the same pattern of this and this. It's that opportunity you're being given over and over again, possibly. Happens for a lot of people, it's over and over again, until you're really ready to make a change for yourself and get clear as to what your expectations are and what you will allow and not allow in a friendship or relationship. So we would say, how much time should you put into a relationship that seems to be not going anywhere, or you're concerned about? I mean, honestly, sometimes my guys are just really blunt, but I saw them like chuckling because they're already there doing the thumbs down. Like, Don't waste a lot of time. Instead, maybe there's a separation needed for a while so you can have your own space back and that person can have their own space back so that you may further reflect on what it is you could do better, what you need to own, or is there something that you are just, you are bending over backwards for, that you're giving up a little bit of who you are to please somebody else or to make things right. It's clarity. That separation is a time for you to really focus on that. So if you're not ready to throw in the towel, so to speak, in this friendship or relationship, then maybe you distance yourself for a while so you can have time to have more clarity. There's also an energetic thing about that. When you distance yourself, that means you literally are taking yourself out of their space, and hopefully they are doing the same. You can work on visuals of really, releasing some of that energy back to them. It could be cords. If you see cords, maybe, in the heart chakra or any other part, usually heart chakra for relationships. I see that a lot. Can be like in the first chakra, foundation and security. I'll see that sometimes for people. It can be in different areas, but generally speaking, it's kind of in that area. You can do some visualizations on releasing some of that. So I'm going back to my guides on here. I hope that makes sense to you, first of all, of being able to just maybe separate yourself a little bit if you're not quite ready. But to really focus on getting back to what we call the must-haves in a relationship for you, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a relationship, write it down. Write it down as to what is it I know for sure I really need in a future relationship or in a relationship that will make me happy, so that I'm not wasting so much time. And I'm not trying to make it just good because I don't want to be lonely or alone. Sure, everybody's felt that way. It's not a good feeling. But in those moments of solitude is when you get your best learning. Some of your best stuff comes during that time. And it can feel pretty yucky. It's not always fun to go through a breakup or any of that. The best things that we can do for ourselves is really, again, allowing ourselves to have that time for inner reflection instead of looking for the next person to get into a relationship with because you don't want to be alone. Alone time is valuable time as a soul. It really is. And it's okay to be alone. It is okay to be alone. And it doesn't mean you'll be alone. In fact, they're repeating a message that I got on Two Psychic Moms, which is interesting. It's okay, you won't be alone forever. I'm hearing that there must be a thing going on here, then really wanting us to know that even if you take that time for yourself and you really reflect on those things, doesn't mean that you're not going to create all the more it can be that you're going to create, the more satisfying relationship, whatever that may be for you coming up. So should you fix a relationship, if you can own some things that you need to change within yourself, fix, you know what I mean by that, stay in it and try to work on it. And you really think there's some things you could bring to the table that might help, then maybe you want to look at that a little bit and have the conversation. Needless to say, communication is everything in partnership, whether it's friendship, and again, not always easy to do. It's much easier to avoid sometimes than to get right at it with somebody and really discuss some things. But of course, that's how resolution, happens, is when we are in communication. So if you've got concerns, please state them. Don't stuff them down out of fear of the person leaving you or what's going to be like if I don't have them in my life. You need to speak your truths and honor what is important to you in a relationship. Then you see how it goes. If that other person is receptive to it and wants to try, then great. Maybe you work on it for a little bit longer. If you feel resistance, and again, being in maybe too much ego or pride and just that other person can't do it, then we say, do some separation. Think about separation. You may feel it's just you're going to walk away from it. Great. That's what you feel you need to do. And if you feel that's your best, the best answer for you, then absolutely. So that's what we say to that question. And it's really up to you how you feel about yourself and what it is that you are willing to put up with, what you're not willing to put up with. Be honest. Again, own own your part in it and what maybe you could do better, what part, and maybe it's just that you're not speaking that truth and that you're going to work on that, and then let the rest unfold, because it will. When you start really stating your truth, try to do it diplomatically, of course, in a loving way, and set the intention for that if you two are going to have a communication ahead of time. I really wanted to speak to you about some things I've been feeling, and can we both promise each other that, you know, we will listen, and maybe validate, repeat back what we're hearing for each other and be in that space? Can we both do that? I will give you the floor as much as me taking the floor and speaking my piece. And we'll see what we can do with this, because I think it's important that we both talk about our concerns and our fears. And then again, let it just play out. Okay. So that's what we have for you today. Again, thank you for viewing. Really appreciate it. If this is value to you, please share it with anybody that you think could use some, help with this. And leave a comment or two. I appreciate your comments if this was helpful for you. And again, if you have any questions that are like this, general type of questions, philosophical ones, or really constructive ones, please send them, because we love to take a look at this for you. Okay. Thank you again. Take care. Have a beautiful week. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.